Hi, everyone. I'm Simon Galperin. A little bit about myself. Russian is my first language, but I don't speak it like as well as I should. I was born in Moscow and raised in New Jersey, where I went to Rutgers University. When I went to Rutgers University, I co-founded a publication there when I was an undergraduate. And the summer before I co-founded that publication, I went to Kenya, and I was an undergraduate journalism student, and I met a bunch of high school kids who asked me how to start a newspaper at their high school. And I was supremely underqualified to give advice on that, but that fall I came home and started one. And then after that, I helped establish the first social justice journalism lab in the country at Rutgers University. So when I found this picture last week, it was sort of serendipitous in that the community I ended up serving was emerging journalists this year. Emerging journalists are bearing the brunt of industry disruption. 1 in 2 newsroom leaders and staffers say that J schools aren't preparing students for the industry. So in order to limit my scope of practice and sort of be able to measure metrics and have some outcomes, I picked undergraduate student journalists in New Jersey as the community I'd be serving. And the question I really wanted to know was, what issues and pressures are they facing? What's preventing them from telling stories, making an impact, and serving their own communities? I did that by doing some media making, doing interviews with stakeholders, launching a survey, and doing some community building. Here's some metrics for you. 25,000 Facebook Live views. The most meaningful of them to me is the 9,500 minutes read of my work over the course of the year, which means that somebody devoted 158 hours of their time to my useless crap. Some impact statements for you guys, the most Journalism 2.0 of them all being the last live stream standing of a Bernie Sanders rally in New Jersey after the official rally was taken over by, after the official live stream was taken over by trolls. I did some interviews with stakeholders. Here's a little stakeholder map to give you an understanding of sort of the ecosystem that I started to explore. And then I launched a survey, and in that survey what I found is that educators and students are talking about the same things when it comes to improving their ecosystem. Ultimately, they're trying to find out how they can connect and to connect to improve their skill sets, connect to give themselves opportunities to thrive after graduation. And then, as that survey is rolling around and reaching all corners of the state, I started cataloging student media in the state. And there are 67 publications across all of New Jersey's public universities and private universities, serving a population that would be the 3rd largest city in New Jersey. So there are 67 publications for 192,000 people, 31 of them being print publications. The most cringeworthy finding so far has been that somebody has their AIM, their AOL Instant Messenger handle on their website. And the most awesome one is that a single university has 14 student media organizations at it, second to that being 5 student media organizations, which is particularly incredible. I started a Facebook group that everyone can please feel free to join, bit.ly/NJ Student Media. I'll wait for the notifications to come in before I continue. But that's not the only thing I did. I also did some work with ProPublica this semester, where I was their business development intern. And I launched a project called Info Districts, which seeks to redesign local news and information ecosystems. So what you're probably wondering is, how the hell are any of those things relevant to each other? Student journalists, ProPublica, nonprofit journalism, and Info Districts, which is sort of which is a project to give journalists an opportunity to do better work. And it's because of this concept called positive liberty. And it's a little wonky, but ultimately it's the freedom to act on your free will. That's opposed to negative liberty, which is the freedom from interference. So in the United States, journalists normally have the freedom from interference in reporting on poverty, torture, and mass incarceration, police brutality. But that doesn't mean they do. And that's because sometimes they have skills gaps, editors prevent them from doing the work they want to do, and business models don't serve journalists who are serving the needs of their communities. And ultimately, those journalists are trying to tell stories, make an impact, and serve their community, just like the emerging journalists I was working with. So in ProPublica, a quote someone told me is that as long as you could do it well, you can do it there. And that's exactly the sort of opportunity I want to give journalists, emerging journalists, undergraduate student journalists in New Jersey, and journalists around the country with the Project Info Districts. And I just want to leave you with this quote. A free press can be good or bad, but most certainly without freedom, a press will never be anything but bad. And that is what my work has been about, giving people the freedom to do what they want to do. And I think that social journalism in particular is a tool for that. We, social journalists, give people opportunities to have their voices heard, right? And I think all my classmates can attest to that being sort of an underpinning of our work. And then again, feel free to reach out to me, my email address, my Twitter handle. Thank you so much.